Hey everybody, welcome back to Small Talk Japan. On this show, we talk about all things Japan in English. My name is Mitch, and these are my co-hosts,
Natsuki
and Alex. Hello.
And today we're going to talk about rank and file positions in Japan.
What kind of positions?
Well, we could talk about those.
Right,
but
yeah.
I'm pretty sure that YouTube would downrank this video.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not on this platform, is it?
No, it's the wrong platform. Well, you can check out our other, fan page only for you.
Dirty Talk Japan. Yeah.
But today we want to talk about, basically like your rank in Japanese culture, like how people display the hierarchy of importance of people in a social situation using their behavior. Okay? Natsuki, are you ready for this?
I'm not ready for this. I know there is such a rule in Japan, but I cannot express well, so maybe I count on them.
Why?
Okay, so
things.
Natsuki, let's just jump in, okay? So when you're in a social setting, like a situation, right?
Yes.
Do you just automatically know who the most important, the most edai person is?
People who are sitting in the back, I mean the edge thing, oku.
So if you're talking about if you're in an izakaya, for example, and there's like a table,
okay,
right? It's the person who's the farthest away from the entrance seat is the most important
right.
person, right?
Thank you for the expression.
Who's the least important person?
It depends on the situation, but maybe like boss or like president.
No, that's the most important, right?
Okay.
But least important is like the person who's like the last one.
The newest employee.
The newest employee.
Yeah. 新入社員.
Yeah, the new guy.
New guy.
Alex, have you ever experienced? Well, let's just talk about the table situation. So we know that if you're in the furthest away from the door, I think it goes with the Bushi culture, the samurai culture.
Yeah, it's like Kamiza, Shimoza.
Right.
The elevated seat and the lower seat or whatever. So it actually depends on the layout of the room. It does change a little bit depending on how the table's laid out. There are quite a lot of rules around that, but it's generally the person furthest away from the door. And on the other side of the table from the door as well is a good indication.
Now, why is that?
So that's basically, if somebody in samurai times came running in with a sword to kill everybody, the kind of younger people, the lower ranking people near the door would get the chop first, right?
Yeah.
Or they'd be able to protect the older people or whatever, the more important people, before they get killed or whatever.
Yeah.
So there's that practical aspect to it, I guess. And if you're sat at the other side and you can see the door as well, you've got a better line of sight as to who's coming in and things like that as well.
I mean, having the I think the lowest ranking seat in a table is with your back to the door, nearest to the door.
Yeah.
That's like like you said,
Pretty much,
somebody's gonna come in and cut you down. That's the guy that's gonna die. He's the red shirt. He's gonna die first.
Yeah.
I thought the person sit nearest the door can order beer easily.
That's true as well.
So that is like an extension of that into current times, right? Where it's like, when the beers come in from the waitress, like they hand it out to everybody. So yes, that's what they do now.
Yeah.
But that wasn't historically what their job was.
Or making drinks as well. Making drinks for everybody around. So if there's a bottle of like shochu or whatever, they'll mix it up and pass it to the people.
Yeah.
Keeping an eye on whose glass is empty.
Yeah.
As well, it's a lot of work.
Okay, we want to talk about all the different nuanced behaviors that happen in Japanese society dealing with rank. Well, let's just start with the izakaya scenario, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
So you hit on a lot of things there, Alex. So one of the things that I always notice is that when you come into an izakaya or any sort of sitting situation, nobody freaking sits down.
Yeah.
They're all hustling and bustling and walking around oh, I don't know where to sit. Where do you sit? And it's and then I do it too because no one else is sitting down, so I'm not sitting down.
Yeah.
And they're all just freaking waiting around for the most edai. Edai means most important, important or how would you translate edai? Important, I guess.
Yeah, important person.
It's
MVP,
the VIP, whatever
Senior, right?
The senior, whenever he comes, usually a he, and then sits down, then everybody else kind of like figures out where they sit, and it's like really annoying.
Or it's all planned in advance. So if anything's to do with like a local government event or a government event, all the seating's laid out in advance, and they'll usually send it like a week before. So we have a restaurant at our place, and we get seating arrangements way in advance.
So everything's like decided. So
everything's pre-decided. The most extreme case of this I've ever seen was an event we did a couple of years ago. So some of the descendants of the former kind of feudal lords from different regions of Japan, and also the descendant of one of the shogun as well, came to our place for an event, and there was like a party afterwards, and everybody had to sit down in this kind of like teppanyaki type place or whatever.
Yeah.
And it took, I'm not joking, about 30 minutes to decide where everybody should sit.
Oh my God.
Because it's like the host, and then this guy was a feudal lord of this place, so his domain was slightly bigger than the other one, but now he's the descendant of him, so he just works in a company.
Yeah.
But this other guy from a smaller domain is now the shacho of a company, the CEO. So do we go with the historical status, or do we go with the modern status? Where do we sit them?
So who won? Who won like the most important person?
I can't remember. It was just so confusing. But we did sort it out, and everybody was happy in the end. But I mean, it must have taken 30 minutes deliberating before we got there. So I was sat next to the door then, with my back to the door.
Lowest position.
I knew where I was going to sit, right?
No, there are times where I'll like be in a social gathering like that where I realize that my rank as like a small company CEO, like I should be by the door. So I'll just like I'll skip all that bull crap and just sit closest to the door.
Yeah.
And be like, you guys figure out the rest, and I'll just like play on my phone and wait for them to stop.
Yeah.
My wedding reception,
Yeah.
we have to make a seat in advance.
Yeah.
And then I didn't know any rules. I just put that like randomly.
Yeah.
And the person in charge of the wedding scold me because I'll be in trouble. I put the LI store in the back.
Oh.
You understand what I mean?
I've had this before, right? So I went to my sister's wife's sister's wedding.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
Japanese side.
Yeah. So I thought, we'll be sat at the front because we're family, right?
Yeah,
Oh, no.
We got
in the
there
back.
right at the very
Yeah,
back,
yeah.
and I was
So.
like, "What is this bollocks?" You know what I mean?
So at Japanese weddings, guys, like the people who are, what is the right word? People who are closest, like familiar, like family wise to the couple are sat in the very, very back. So it's like immediate nuclear families in the very, very back. And then you have like shinseki, like relatives. And then you have like low ranking, like friends or like, colleagues or something like that. And then you have like management of the couple's respective companies, and then in the very, very front you have the CEOs of their company, and for whatever reason a lot of times I don't know why. They put me in the front of the weddings every time, and I'm like,
because
why?
You're the CEO.
Yeah, but I'm not giving them a lot of money for their wedding.
But they like the foreign mix as well.
Yeah, takes better pictures,
international.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But no, I always thought that was really weird because it's like, mate, you work for somebody's company and you're indebted to them because they pay your salary, but they don't know you.
They
know
don't.
what I mean?
And the thing is, all the speeches at the wedding are done by all these EDI people who have no idea who's getting married.
I know, yeah.
And they say the same bullshit speech every single time. They're like, and they're reading the names from a card.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and the thing is like the EDI people have to go up before the kanpai. So you're sitting there with your beer is going flat, and you're listening to the old men just like go on because no one listens to them in their normal lives. So like this is their chance that they can talk to you, and you're like a captive audience, and you're just like, let me drink my beer. I hate Japanese weddings.
Yeah. No,
they're the worst. They're the worst.
Yeah.
Absolute worst. Not
After
fun at all.
parties are good. After parties.
Second party is the best.
Yeah.
But even then, when you go to the second party, it's usually like decided on the day. So where people sit is like a huge like a waste of 20 or 30 minutes at the beginning of the second party.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Everybody's half cut as well by then.
Yeah, everybody's kind of drunk.
Yeah, basically we make seat by lottery. Like we pick the card and then there's a number, and then seat there's a number, so make much.
Yeah. I mean, that's better than but the good thing about the after party of weddings is most of the time all the EDI people go home.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So then you can like all the people who actually know the couple can actually enjoy the wedding. So it's really the second part that you should look forward to.
Yeah, let your hair down a bit then, right?
Yeah. So other than so now we went through izakayas, the restaurants, and we went to weddings. What else?
We missed pouring beer out for other people.
Oh my god!
So when you're drinking with somebody, if their glass is starting to get a bit lower, it's like you'll pour the beer out for them Always try and get the label up as well is the way to do it. Apparently.
Again, you're so right about that. Yeah. Get the label up and then make sure that you have like the perfect mixture of bubbles and beer too.
Yeah.
And then you got to wait until usually if they're at eye, they won't say anything and they'll just like you serve them. But if they're kind of like a little bit above you, they'll say the
mama. Yeah. So there's a funny video about this by some Japanese comedy group called Ramens or something like that.
Yeah, it's about the sushi-san, right?
Yeah, that was good. Check it out, man. But there's, all these complicated rules about serving drinks and things like that. I don't bother anymore. I just can't be asked. So I'm just like, I'll do it myself. I'm English. Like,
Well, I do go through that, like where, I'll pour beer and then they'll pour beer for me. And then I'll be like, all right, that's the last time you do that. I'll just put it in myself. Because like, let's just be honest, like pouring a beer is an art form. And if you don't know how to do it, what are you doing with the beer bottle? And so like, and they have these tiny little, they're like this big. So you're constantly refilling these little tiny cups at the wedding. And so at least here in Kagoshima we just like hit shochu after the first beer, and so you don't have to worry about it anymore. But even then you have to make shochu, right?
Right.
Oh god,
gotta make it gogo, half and half or whatever.
And also beer, you have to finish it when somebody comes to pull your glass.
Let me finish it really quick. And then also going back to the wedding thing, if you're at a wedding, all of the people from the audience come and pour you a drink at your wedding. And so if you and the couple set up on a high table, like in the front of the reception, and if you ever go up behind them, look below the table, there's these two like buckets that they're just pouring the drinks into because they're not drinking them.
Really?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
I thought they were for puking in or something. I got a bit carried away.
No. Everybody's filling up your glass, and so they don't want you to get drunk as a couple, and so they just pour them out in there.
No way.
Bride shouldn't drink
at all.
Yeah, but I did.
Of course you did, Natsuki.
Bride shouldn't drink.
No.
What?
Because a lot of times they're in like the corset wearing. They're like they're really
No,
like
shouldn't, but not supposed to.
and then they turn red sometimes. Whatever.
Don't need that.
Okay, so we got restaurant, wedding, pouring the beer, making shochu. We just gonna skip that. Let's go to the next one. Elevator. Yes, guys, elevator. Positioning on an elevator is important.
Yeah.
Such a thing not happening in other
No
country?
way.
No way.
No way. Who cares where you stand in an elevator?
Yeah. No, you don't get that.
No.
So there's an order, but I mean, I don't really know.
I don't really
I think
know.
it's the far. Wait, if you look at it from the front, your left hand side at the back.
Yeah. So
is the most elevated position. Right?
So now I've heard two explanations of this. It's if you like Alex said, if you're looking into the elevator, the rear left most position is the most erai.
Yeah.
But I've also heard it explained that it depends on where the buttons are. And like you're supposed to be the person behind the buttons is like most erai.
Oh, really?
Is what I've been told, but I don't know if that's right.
Well, usually, like traditional culture-wise, the right-hand side is reserved for the higher position. So when you're in the elevator,
the way that you're facing.
In the elevator facing out, you're on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
So that's number one. Number two is on the left-hand side then.
Because outer sides.
Yeah, and then number three is in the middle.
And that starts in the back and it moves forward.
Yeah. You see it in Shinto shrines a lot, actually, when they give offerings to Shinto shrines. I think, what? Oh, God, I can't remember now. Rice is the most important one, right? So rice actually with Shinto shrines, it's in the middle. Yeah. So it's in the middle. And then on the right, the next highest one, I think, is sake. And then after that is mochi. Maybe. Yeah. So it's like 1, 2, 3.
Oh.
So that kind of spills into modern culture as well. So it's kind of right is more important than left.
I see. Many things are probably according to that rule.
Shinto.
Yeah, Shinto. And
also, right-handedness is probably a part of that as well.
Yeah.
But this is why in England, like the way of driving is different from the way in America. It had to do with like drawing your sword, right?
Really?
I think it's
in the car.
No. when you're doing right away on horses back in the day.
Oh, right. Okay.
Like I think that you would always ride with the other rider sword side.
Right. Okay. No, it makes sense because in Japan they used to say people walk on the left because the samurai's swords were on the left hand side.
Yeah.
So if you walk on the right hand side, there's a chance of the scabbards banging into each other, which is incredibly rude here. And that's also why we shake hands with the right hand, apparently.
Well, I think we shake hands with the right hand because it's the dominant hand, right?
There is that as well, but you also can't draw your sword if you've got your right hand out in front of you. Left hand won't reach around to it.
Well, I don't usually carry my sword around, but
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not so much use for it these days, but just in case.
just in case.
Yeah.
My daughter
Has a sword?
No. So it looks like her kikite. How do you say that kikite?
The dominant hand.
Dominant
Yeah,
hand.
is left, and then my mother-in-law said we have to
Fix it.
Fix it.
Yeah, it's old thinking.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Yeah, I'm left-handed.
Next time you say that, just tell her, or she says that, just tell her President Obama is left-handed.
Yeah.
And if she doesn't know who that is, then tell her
No, she
Alex,
knows.
Alex
She
is
knows
left-handed.
who that is.
So ranking in this right goes President Obama followed directly by Alex.
Yeah, that's the left-handed ranking in the world. It's true. Yeah, but I don't turn paper upside down to sign it like that. I do it just
You just said like that.
yeah, like a don.
Dude, I couldn't believe I can't even imagine being left-handed. It'd be so inconvenient.
But I throw things with my right hand, and also use chopsticks with my left hand.
So you can use both.
I'm
Kind of.
ambidextrous.
Kind
I'm
of,
gonna
yeah.
ask you a more adult question off camera, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, that's for Dirty Talk Japan. Our other channel coming soon.
Coming soon.
Figure out what that means.
So we've got restaurant, wedding, elevator,
Taxi. What about taxi?
taxi. Oh God,
Is that thing happen in other country?
no.
No.
Well, you sit in the
position?
back, right? Well,
Yeah.
you sit in the back anyway, right? In a taxi.
You sit in the
generally.
back, but if you need the extra chair, sitting in front is not unheard of, right?
Yeah.
But sitting in the front is the most cramped, so people don't want that. And then sitting in the back, this is sexist. I'm sorry, I didn't make this. But sitting in the middle is called riding bitch.
Is it? Oh,
Yeah.
right. I didn't know that.
Because you're supposed to put the girl in that seat.
Yeah, I know about shotgun, but I've never heard of riding bitch.
Shotgun has to do with back in the day when there was the what are those called? Stagecoaches.
Yeah.
In the West, and so you'd have the guy who was actually like controlling the horses. The what do you call him? Like the rider or whatever.
The driver.
Driver.
I don't know.
What's driving? I'm not sure. Whatever. He's the guy with the whips. And the guy next to him is holding a shotgun in case that somebody tried to hijack the stagecoach.
Right, okay.
That's why that's called shotgun.
Nice.
And then in the back middle, it's called riding bitch, mostly because guys like to man spread, and so they like the larger two sides. And so you put, and also like if there's like a smaller male in your group of males, then he rides in the middle, and it's just a way to be sexist and kind of like a stupid boy. But anyway, that's what we say in America. But in Japan, it's kind of the same.
Yeah. So it's elevator rule again.
Yeah, behind the driver is most erai.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's so like all the way to the back and to the right.
So that's the right side, yeah.
Right, okay. Huh?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So then all the way to the back and to the left is number 2.
Yeah.
And then all the way to the back in the middle is number 3. And then shotgun is number 4.
Right.
Right.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
So you were saying this off camera, but it's like left, right, middle.
Yeah.
Left, right, middle.
So
is
right, left, middle.
Right, yes, that's
Yeah.
right. From our perspective, yeah. Right, left, middle. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the usual kind of way, right? So, yeah, it's a nightmare.
And
Logistical nightmare.
it's just like the thing is it especially when you get into a taxi, you just want to get in and go.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, oh, no, and they're screwing around with it. And sometimes the untensan, the driver gets out and he starts helping you guys. And you're like, let's just figure this out, everybody. And yeah, it's a mess.
So how do you show respect to Elaisto in your country?
We don't say bad things to them.
And they also have lots of money in their bank account.
That's it?
Usually. So,
No, they're showing respect to themselves,
be polite. I don't know. You have to, do anything special with seating arrangements. I don't think. Not in a car if you're riding with them. If they're super like high level anyway, you wouldn't be in the car with them. You know what I mean? What are you doing in the car with them?
Yeah, who are you? Why are you here?
Yeah.
Well, I tell you, if I was in the same room with like say like Bill Gates, for example, like I think that I would just be friendly.
Oh, really?
And then maybe a little bit like, oh my God, you're so amazing. You've done so many things for humanity. Just like complimenting him. But I wouldn't worry about where he's sitting unless it's like says Bill Gates. I'm not going to sit there.
Yeah.
I don't, other than that, I'm not going to care about sitting.
And also, we cannot close legs when we sit with Elaisto.
What? Is this a woman thing?
Yeah, women and men.
Oh, I do it all the time.
Oh, no, you cannot do that.
I do it all the time.
Yeah, I do that as well.
Really? You can't cross your legs?
No.
I've heard that before. Someone told me about it. So I just told them to fuck off. 'Cause I said my legs are longer than yours. That's why they have to be crossed.
I can't say that. I have short legs. It's a Japanese part of my DNA. It's true. Let's talk about Meishi Kokan, giving out your business card, which unfortunately is still a thing in Japan. I don't know why. But like, there's so many rules involved with that, right?
Yeah.
First of all, if you're like lower ranked, like if you initiate a Meishi Kokan, I've heard that that's kind of rude.
Oh, really?
You should wait for the higher ranking people to do it.
I always go straight in with a card.
That's why, because I always do that too.
Yeah. But I can imagine, I suppose. Because it's like they have to give you theirs back then.
Right. Unless it's like a business setting, like let's say like I go to somebody's office to meet them for something business, putting out your business card is important. But like if it's just a normal social setting, and I'm like, oh, then I have to ask permission. Can I give you my business card?
Right, yeah.
Then after you ask permission, then you can do it.
Yeah, I just don't bother with that. I just do it.
Like here's my card.
Yeah, but I don't do it like that. I do it
Can you see the proper way?
Yeah, both hands. Facing them in the language that they're more familiar with.
So that side up.
Yeah. But recently I ran out of business cards. So I had only English ones that I used for overseas sales. So I've just been giving those out instead. It's in English, sorry.
Well, I mean, they can get by.
But they like that. They get a kick out of it.
Yeah.
Because the foreign business cards I've got are much thicker, more than double the thickness. Because the reason for this is I went to a sales conference in London.
Okay.
And the Japanese business cards generally tend to be quite thin and flimsy. Because, just to save paper or whatever.
Yeah.
And this Australian guy was there, and he goes, flips it like that on his thumb, and he goes, bit cheap, mate. So
bit cheap, mate.
So from then on, I've used like thick business cards when I go abroad to give it a bit more status.
Sometimes they get like the crazy business cards sometimes in Japan, like plastic ones like are like half see-through and have like holograms in them. My favorite is the washi, the Japanese paper ones.
Oh yeah, they're really nice.
That don't have like a defined edge. It's kind of just like, it looks like a hamburger patty. It's kind of interesting. But yeah.
But when you get a card, you should take it ideally with both hands and then look at it for a while and just contemplate. Yes, I've read your title. That kind of thing. And then if it's somebody important or whatever, put it on top of your business card case on the table while you talk to them.
Yeah.
Right.
And if somebody, like for example, you've got 3 people in front of you, put the important person's one on your case. And then if they're lined up, it's better to line up the cards
with the people so you can
see who's who, right?
Right.
And that kind of makes it a bit easier, I guess, in meetings.
The one thing you don't want to do is like get somebody's business card and be like, oh, thank you. Put that into your case and just put it in your pocket.
Yeah.
Because that's like, unless you're like God and they're like some lowbie, right? That's really dismissive and it's very rude.
So a guy I knew, like who was in research and design back when I worked for an IT company in the UK, he came over to Japan like on a project working with Sony or some big place like that, and he was like a punk, so he had like a Mohican and like holes in
what
his
did you
t-shirt
just call a mohawk? Did you just call it a Mohican?
Yeah, a Mohican, isn't it? A mohawk.
What?
Mohican, that's what we call it, isn't it? I don't know. Anyway,
Small talk English weirdness.
Oh, shut up. But anyway, he came over to Japan, not in a suit, like in jeans and everything. And he pulled his business card out of his back pocket and unfolded it.
Oh my
God. Because it was in half. And gave it with one hand to the Japanese guy who was like in a suit.
Yeah.
Full on like pure white business card handing over like this. Didn't go well. Didn't go well at all. But, yeah. So be careful of the business cards. It's your avatar. I said it before.
Yeah, it really is. It's like, so my business card is all in English. And the reason for that is because we couldn't figure out what to call me or my other staff, like title wise.
Right.
Because that's the other thing is like, it's like you said, like when you look at a business card, you see their title. And really depending on the people's title is where you rank them socially in the situation that you're in.
Yeah.
If you've got like, I don't know, like Tencho and Bucho in the same room, Bucho is obviously the guy. He's the god. So you know, his card goes on your Meishi case and stuff like that. And I didn't want to have that because I wanted to have more of a flat company. So everything's just written in English on my business card.
Yeah. No, it's difficult when you get into the Soshiki, the company structure and things like that. It's really weird. And also like Bucho from one company is not the same as Bucho from another company. No. It's like, depends on the size of the company and
so Bucho is like the region leader of a business. So if there's like a branch, like a region, he's like the region like chief officer.
It could be director as well in some companies. It
Bucho is like what it means.
General manager or manager or something. Yeah.
So, but anyway, okay, let's keep going. So bowing, here's another one.
Yeah.
Like if I meet the emperor, okay, I'm supposed to like almost go like, Dogeza level, like goes deeply and as reverently as you possibly can bowing, like going completely parallel with the ground. And Mr. Emperor is going to be like very subtle nod at me because he's like the top level and I'm just like this little peasant and that's how it works.
Yeah.
And so anything between that is how it works, right?
So, like, Ojigi, like, bowing is such a complicated thing. And, like, I mean, the funniest thing to watch is, like, foreign karate practitioners
Yeah.
bowing.
Because they get it wrong.
Because they don't do it right. Because they don't do it in daily life. It looks really weird and kind of stilted. So when foreign people who practice martial arts, Japanese martial arts or whatever, are doing bowing abroad, it looks really odd, generally, unless they've spent a lot of time here and kind of got it into the system. But there's so many different degrees of it, like just a simple head nod to like a gentle 10-degree bow to like a 30-degree kind of
to like 90
to 90. I mean,
And
when
then-
you go to a shrine, you're supposed to do 90 degrees.
and you're supposed it's not just bow and then come back up and then leave. You have to reverently and like count to 20 or something.
Yeah. You
No,
know,
No, I'm serious. I'm not, dude. You guys see, they're making fun of this, but it's true. If you bow, even if you bow down to 90 degrees and come right back up, that's still not enough.
Right,
You didn't
right.
do your due diligence.
Right.
Bow, count to like, I don't know, how long do we count?
20 shazai. That's not the same thing. So 20 seconds in a full bow position would be an apology for something that you've done wrong.
No, if you have to do something wrong, if you apologize and you have to apologize like that, it's like dogeze time. So you go prawn. Is that what it's called? Prawn?
Prone.
Prone?
So on your knees on the floor.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's like
Yeah. Have you ever done that, Natsuki?
No.
you've never dogezed before.
No.
Not even once.
I have done at the nomikai because I lost my game.
Lost the
Oh.
game.
Yeah, but not like business scene.
But dogeza and zare, so seated bow, is a different thing. So if you're in a seated environment and you bow, you do it from seiza on your knees.
Yeah.
But if you're outside and you're apologizing, you get on the floor, that's
Yeah.
dogeza, right?
That's right. Where you literally get dirty. Like it's
Yeah.
like, you know. And then dogaze. This is also actually, I think, from that comedy troupe. If you guys like Google like how to eat sushi in Japan or something like that, there's some like old comedy troupe that has like this video that's amazing, and they talk about the different ways of bowing as well.
Yeah.
Like the running up, jumping, and dogaze bow.
Yeah. There's one where they dig a hole in the floor as well.
To make you even lower.
It's even lower down, right? Yeah.
So let's talk about that. So positioning is actually really, really important in Japan. Like when you kampai somebody, now this is an extreme case, not everybody does this, but let's say I kampai like a really, really ed-eye person. He's just gonna go straight out with the beer glass. I need to go below him
Yeah.
and kampai. So that shows like reverence for that person. But most of the people these days will be like, oh, you don't need to do that. So they'll lower their glass, which then
And
in
it's
turn
like-
makes you lower your glass. And you just go to the floor with it.
Yeah. You're going down. Yeah.
But before it gets to the floor, what you do is you reach across and take their arm and elevate them and then kampai them
Right,
and you win.
right. You know things. You know things.
Who's more humble?
Yeah, it really is a race to be more humble.
Yeah. I mean, it's not all bad. There are, societal politeness and things like that's great in Japan. Obviously, people are polite to each other, but there's so many complicated rules that get in the way of kind of business, especially.
Yeah.
And they just kind of don't really need to be there. But at the same time, if they all disappeared, it'd be a real shame,
Yeah.
That's kind of what makes Japan interesting.
I think within Japanese people, I think having those kinds of rules is good. But like if you're like doing global business, expecting somebody from a different country to understand those nuances and idiosyncrasies is going to be difficult.
Well, I had a guy who was a foreign service or whatever from a different country, and I was showing him around this region or whatever. And he goes to me, when we're in London, it's like, what is it? Pedro from Spain, and, Jean-Pierre from Paris, and John from England, and, Werner from Germany. And it's always like Suzuki-san from Japan. And it's like, well, why isn't he just called Taro,
Yeah.
like everybody else? So he didn't like that. He thought it was weird that people were kind of, separating themselves culturally
Yeah.
in different countries.
Yeah.
So I kind of agree with that, actually. If you're abroad, it's better to fit into their norms.
Yeah.
Or if you're doing international business, have an international norm.
Like have some sort of like, average of everything.
Yeah.
But I think that when you get into the situation where people who have like lived abroad for a long time, when they come back and you meet them, they'll be like, oh, just call me, Taro.
Yeah.
Don't call me by my last name. It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I don't know. The whole display of rank, though, I think it really just goes back to, like maybe it's the samurai that it goes back to. I'm not really sure, but
Confucianism, isn't it?
is it?
Neo-Confucian social hierarchy or something like that, probably.
And women are almost always below men in every most. I mean, it's changing a little bit, but in most situations.
Right.
So like even if there's two like newbies from a company at a drinks party, one of them's male, one of them's female. The female's on drink duty. That's just like decided.
Happens a lot, yeah.
especially this area, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's true. Yeah.
I can't think of anything else. I mean, there's so many though. I mean, we just get used to it, living here.
Yeah. I mean, part of it's interesting from a cultural perspective, just to watch.
Yeah.
I do enjoy just finding out about these kind of things and why people are doing it from a kind of anthropological.
Yeah, I hate to say it
perspective.
like that, but it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I actually just thought of something that I wanted, but we should probably just make a whole show out of it. So let's not talk about it too much. But also the use of words.
Yeah.
Like you change the way that you speak the language depending on the rank of the person you're speaking to and your familiarity with them.
Yeah.
We could do a whole show on this. Let's just do that at a different time. But yeah, there's so many things out there.
Yeah. If we get into the deep dive of Kegel, could be a whole thing.
Kegel gets confusing even for Japanese people on some levels. But we'll have to make that into a different show.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we are running out of time. Any last comments on that we want people, if they're going to come here and do business or live in Japan, what's a good piece of advice to give them about rank?
How did you guys learn in the social life?
Getting scolded a lot.
Yeah.
People pulling me by my ear aside and be like, come here, let me tell you what you just did wrong. You should never do this. It's like, Nani, omae wa nani gaijin? Naso gaijin furi o yamenasai tte.
Yeah.
So getting scolded.
Yeah, people do correct you actually. If you live here for a long time, you do get corrected.
Yeah.
But also watching carefully as well. It's very important to watch people and what they do. And then think, is that a social norm or is that just something that this person does?
And then ask
break
about
it down.
Yeah.
Ask as well, yeah.
Okay.
But nobody's really going to get angry at you because you don't know.
Yeah.
If you're a foreign person, you've got at least one chance to learn.
Sometimes they might, or they'll get angry at the person who brought you to the situation.
That's true. Yeah.
Right.
That does happen occasionally. Yeah.
All right, guys. Anyway, that's been our show today. If you guys have any questions or comments, please leave us a comment or a question in the comment section below. If you thought that we missed something, maybe some big way of displaying rank in Japan that we missed, just let us know. Thank you so much, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey everyone, Josh here. Thanks for watching this week's episode of Small Talk Japan. Small Talk Japan was filmed and recorded in Kagoshima at Story Studios. This week's episode stars Michi, Natsuki, and Alex, and is produced by me, Josh, and is executive produced by Michi. Hair services provided by Drops Hair Tenmonkan. This week's episode is sponsored by Stapleton A. Kaiwa. Leave a comment below and let us know what you think of the show. Thanks again for watching, and if you enjoyed the show, click here to subscribe and click here to watch more. See you next time!